Magic here, back again with another video. So today I just decided to do a little quick informative video here to keep the channel going, keep it alive, post a video to give you guys an update on the future of the channel with New Year's being here. It's officially 2019. Happy New Year to everybody. Yeah, so New Year, a couple new things I've been thinking about, my mindset with this channel, how I'm gonna go about it. Well, I've talked about it in previous videos. Nothing much has changed really, except for the fact that I just want to propose to you guys an idea. So everything I've said in the past about getting more serious about this channel, using studios, or helping getting what's the word for it, development software for videos such as Sony Vegas, things like that, to help make the videos more informative and be able to give you guys information in a better and more entertaining way. All those things are coming into fruition, but I also want to talk about a new topic that I want to talk about on this channel. Just propose to you guys with the viewers that I have that do watch this channel from time to time. What would you guys think about? Obviously, this channel is dedicated to Ryu players and Ryu in general, Ryu gameplay and things like that. And other characters as well, obviously. But I'm also something that I'm personally into very much is just conversations about life, conversations about where to go in life, struggles of life. It's always been a topic that I enjoyed talking about. So if you guys will be into that, having certain videos daily a week, I gotta plan and strategize it out how I'm gonna go about it, but I could maybe plan something like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, evolved, life talks, or talks about life with Evolved Magic type of videos. I can do them live so we can get some interaction going. I can just do them as standard videos and keep on doing the way I'm doing them now and things like that. But you guys can let me know in the comments section below and let me know what you guys would think about posting more videos about, instead of so much Street Fighter V content. And there'll still be plenty of Street Fighter V content. That'll be the main thing with this channel, but also uploading things about life, how that affects competitive gaming, how that affects Street Fighter, how that affects your mindset about Street Fighter. I'm not the oldest guy in the book. I'm only 20 years old, but I do consider myself to have some interesting perspectives about life from time to time, and hopefully that may or may not be able to help you, but hopefully it will. So we'll see how this video goes, and you guys let me know if that would be something that you guys would be into. But so today I'm going to be talking about in this video how I started playing Street Fighter. I was talking to a couple friends of mine, and they pitched in a couple topics for me, and that was probably one of the most topics that I was most interested about talking about you guys today. So I'm just going to do a quick video explaining how I started playing Street Fighter, and yeah. So how I started playing Street Fighter. Yeah, so it's a long story, but to summarize it up in the best format, so I started playing fighting games in general around the age of, I've played fighting games all my life. My first fighting game, like the first game I would consider a fighting game would probably be on the Game Boy Advance. This is like way back when. We're talking what, 2001, 2002, I believe. Around that time, we're talking like early 2000s here. There was a game that released called Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga for the Game Boy. That game was literally a game where Mario and Luigi, I don't remember the story exactly because it's been so long, but it was a game where Mario and Luigi would walk around and they would, fight these monsters or whatever, and things like that, and they would fight these monsters, and they would just, I thought it was cool even as a kid, like seeing people with these powers, and like normal combat doesn't necessarily look like that, but seeing people with these powers, swing around and swing people around like, ragdolls and everything, I thought that was, was a pretty cool power, to be able to strengthen yourself to do things like that. So, I started getting into that, and as time went on, I aged, I got older, and I got a PlayStation 2. This was I was around probably 6 to 7 years old when I started playing Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. And then I started playing more different fighting games. Probably a couple fighting games that you guys may know about would be the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series. I was into that. I was into the Naruto Ultimate Ninja series, and later on I was into the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series. I was into all of those games. Probably one of the biggest sparks for me in fighting games, my love for fighting games, was probably the Storm series. I can get more into that later, but Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm held, and still does hold, a special place in my heart. As non-competitive as the game isn't really built for competitiveness, but the energy and the inspiring OSTs and the just the energy and the vibe of the game in general for a fighting gamer, like, it really like spoke to me. Not only was the anime gorgeous, but it spoke to me, and it taught me things that, taught me lessons, believe it or not, playing these video games. The Storm series, the Budokai series as well, taught me lessons that I weren't getting in life. I was not getting these real life applications, and before I knew it, I was applying things from the game, things that some of the characters, were talking about in their story, in their lore, some of the characters that they applied to their life, things such as never giving up, or pursuing your dreams, or, training really hard at something, good positive ideas about how to approach life and perspectives about life that I applied to my own life through these games. And I always had an amazing spot for games, like, after that experience. But me having that amazing spot in my heart for games after that experience did not make me, it didn't spark my competitiveness for where I am right now with Street Fighter. So, how do I put it? When I was in high school, I was around the ages 13 to 14 now, we're talking about, right? So, when I was in high school, I was part of this team. I'm not going to say exactly what team it was, but I was part of this team in high school. It was an after-school team. And in this team, they were super competitive, right? And probably the most awe-inspiring thing for me about being in that team was that team competed all over the Eastern Coast at what they did, right? And if they were good enough, they would compete all over the nation. They would compete in a grand tournament called Nationals. And the winner of Nationals was known as the number one team. As far as the United States was concerned, they were confirmed as the number one team. So, for me, that was a big deal. Because all my life, through playing these video games and through learning, all these life lessons from the lore, enjoying all the amazing energies, there's like two things that I could say that I was born with that has stuck with me, with or without gaming, but it's just stuck with me just because that's the mentality that I have. Playing video games only reinforced that mentality so much more, to the point where I know it's a part of me now. It's not just like one of those hidden things that, like, I think about in a pretense, like, I know it's there, I know it's part of me, and I can say, like, with confidence, this is who I am. What do I mean by that? I mean, I've always had, and this is just me personally, I've always had the drive, or not the drive, but more so the idea that I want to be one of the best in the world at something. Like, I don't want to be second, I don't want to be third, I don't want to be fourth, but I want to be number one. Number one. And I always felt like if I wasn't number one, then I was wasting my time. Or if I wasn't training like I was supposed to be number one, then I was wasting my time. It's probably one of the worst feelings ever. Still is one of the worst feelings ever to plan and dream something, or, want to be something, knowing that you have the potential to put the effort into it and not go into it, and then realize how much wasted potential you're facing. It's a painful feeling. You're like, damn, like, if only I could have stuck with it, if only I would have, stayed motivated and stayed focused, I would be where I want to be right now. It's a horrible feeling. So, the drive to be the great at something was probably one of the biggest drives that I had. And then probably, or one of the certain energies that I've had inside of me, with or without gaming. And probably the second energy that I had inside of me, with or without gaming, was I've never been excuse me. I've never been a cocky person. I joke around from time to time. Obviously, I'm human, and I joke around from time to time when I say certain things. But when I'm talking about something seriously, something that especially something that I put time into, something that I'm serious about, I take trash talk to be very, how do I say? I used to take it to be offensive, but now, with age and more wisdom, I suppose, I don't so much take it as offensive anymore, but I so much take it as, like, I guess disrespectful would be the word, because I feel like everything that you can talk and say to me that you can do, especially in terms of beating me at something, for example, or saying that you're better than me at something, I feel like if you're just better than someone at something, and you can beat someone at something, then just be better than them. Beat them. Actions have always spoke way louder than words to me. It always has. You can say you're going to do something, but no one's going to really believe you until you really, really do it. That's just a fact of life. You know what I'm saying? Or people may believe you for a certain period of time, but after time goes on, then, people won't believe in you anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, your word is your word. When you say you're going to do something, you either do it or you don't. And if you don't, there's consequences to that. And if you do, then there's good things that come with that. You know what I'm saying? So, so it reminded me of how I've always been a person who has spoke with, actions louder than words. Always. I've always been like that. And I've always been humble, right? If I was great at something, I wouldn't, brag about it, saying, you know what, I'm one of the best at this and nobody can tell me different. If anybody, thinks I'm wrong, come challenge me. Figure me out. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't necessarily like that. I was more like very like mellow and chill. And if I can confidently, when I'm good at something, I'll confidently say that, hey, you know what, I'm pretty good. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm the best in the world at something, then I'll confidently say, hey, you know what, in my opinion, I think I'm the best in the world right now at this certain thing. But I won't belittle others or outrightly challenge others without being challenged, if that makes any sense. And if anyone, doubts me for whatever reason, then they can just look at my actions and look at how I am. I'm a type of person where, for example, if I was going to go in a first to two set against somebody in a 1v1, I don't trash talk like that. I don't really say, I'm going to absolutely destroy you with everything I have. I'm going to do A, B, C, and D, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, if I was literally, like, if someone told me what would your words be in a 1v1 right before you fight, some pro player or anything like that, what would you say? I would probably say, we'll see what happens after the match. Or I'll probably say, I don't have anything to say. My Ryu gameplay and my Ryu skills will speak for themselves. That's just literally how I am. I believe in that style of fighting. But that's just me. I realize that other people are different. I accept that other people are different. People have their own ways to get themselves motivated and hyped up and excited, and ways to get focused, in a fighting game. That's just how it is. But for me, that's how I am. That's how I see it. But obviously, if people are different ways, and that's perfectly fine. They can go their way. I will definitely go mine. So, where was I? I was in high school. I was on a team. There was this whole nationals thing, and I went. When high school, when I was dedicated to this team, I was like, okay, fine, like, I'm gonna do it, this and that, da da da. And what I came to realize was something was birthed inside of me in high school, where I was a birth of competitiveness, not just playing games to get really, really good at them. Really, really good at them. Didn't apply to me anymore. There was this competitiveness that was born inside of me, because all of a sudden in high school, not only was I excited to join this team and do what this team does, but I was excited more than anything to compete all around the world. And the people that were the best in the world at this same thing that I was doing after school, I was like, this is the opportunity to do that? To finally compete around, not only test my skills and consider myself that I'm good at something, but show the world that I'm good at something? I didn't even realize that was even a possibility. That blew my mind. So it was freshman year. I went ahead and I did that. I went to high school and I did that after school activity. But something happened with the after school activity, and I'm not going to get into specifics, but I wasn't able to do that activity anymore. I was still training for it. I was busting my ass every day after school to try to get in that team. But one thing led to another, and I wasn't able to do that activity anymore. So at that moment, it was freshman year, I'm like a 13, 14-year-old kid, and I, at that moment, was severely, severely mentally damaged. I felt like the life literally got sucked out of me, because before I knew it, with the excitement of this team, the competition, competing against the best people in the world, I literally thought that everything that I found and loved in games, I could finally apply it and become amazing in real life. I thought, like, I was like, I don't have to play games anymore to feel amazing. I can feel amazing here, right? And that whole perspective of life was just shut down on me. It was just, the whole perspective of life was just shut down on me. The whole approach of the mentality I had was just shut down on me. So the whole competition aspect that was born inside of me was shut down on me. And I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do. This was me as a 13, 14-year-old guy. And I had no idea what to do. So I went through some serious mental battles at that moment in time. And somewhere along the line of these mental battles, I realized that the very same thing that I have been avoiding and saying that I can do and show skills for in real life, I could do in gaming. And I realized that even though I may not feel like I'm alive in real life, there are moments, very pristine moments, where I can turn on a video game or play a video game that I'm passionate about or enjoy very, very much, and all of a sudden I felt alive again, right? If you think about it, it's interesting because you're taking, as much as we love video games, unfortunately, everything you do in video games, you can't do in real life. But there's certain moments where you can truly feel that way, right? Like, there's certain moments where I felt like I could become Ryu in like the non-corniest way I'm saying that possible. Like, and with all seriousness, there was moments where I felt like I was him. I was that character in the screen, throwing fireballs and analyzing my opponent and having these powers to do shoryukens and things of that matter. Like, I felt like I was him. I felt alive through him, through my actions, through my movements. Together, me and Ryu were one. You know what I'm saying? I controlled him, he controlled me. I moved him, he moved me. I won this match, he won this match. It was that eternal connection between me and him, which was huge. And you may be asking, when I realized this, yeah. I realized this when I was on 360 one day, Xbox 360, if you guys don't remember, and I was on Street Fighter 4. Believe it was Ultra Edition or Super Edition, I'm not sure. And I flicked it on for the first time, and I was still going through these mental battles, and I was playing Street Fighter. I was playing a fighting game. But this time I wasn't playing, the Storm series, or I wasn't playing the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series, or Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I was playing a true and real fighting game. A real fighting game with inputs where every single thing I did, the punch, the kick, the fireball, every command was at my control. And how much of it so. If I wanted to jab, I could jab. If I wanted to punch, I could punch. If I wanted to kick, I could kick. These are certain, all of the touch of a button, right? Every single movement. Ryu's left hand, Ryu's right hand. All of these things I could control in this game. The amount of control that I had gave me a deeper experience. It made me really, truly feel one with the character more than I ever have before. You think about it, you play fighting games in the Storm series or in the Budokai series, you can do like combos and things like that, but they're usually like, one button combos, right? Or things like that. The experience that you get, right? Like just the deep experience that you get, the connection to the character that you experience I feel like is weakened when that happens, because all of a sudden, by pressing this one button, you're doing all these different movements. But in Street Fighter 4, when I, flicked it on and I bought the game and I just, let me just try it out for the heck of it, and I was still going through those mental battles, and I turned it on and I went into this Ryu's arcade mode. I'm like, let me try out this guy. He's the main character of the game, so let me see how cool he is. I play characters that relate to me very often, and I stick with them. So let me just see what this guy can do. Not only did he relate to me more than any character I've ever experienced, but the way that he moved, everything that I had control over, it was all new to me. It was so new. I had no idea that a game like this even existed, right? Like, doing this combo in of itself was crazy. Like, I was control of each and every single piece of that combo. I was in control of it. Me. Every single movement felt so much more real because it was that much more harder to do. Instead of pressing a single button, I had to do a quarter circle forward, or I had to do a quarter circle back, or I had to do this punch, then this punch, and, you know, this punch, and then this kick, and, you know, this kick and this kick. You know, like, all of those things made a difference and impact of the connection that I had with the character that I was controlling. It was so much more deeper. It felt so much more real, is what I'm trying to say. It felt so much more real. So because it felt so much more real, I had so much more of a greater time with it. So I played this game, I was going through the experience, I was like, dude, like, this feels amazing. All of a sudden, all the mental battles and the struggles that I was going through, like, faded away. I was like, dude, I feel so good when I'm playing this game. What is this game against? Street Fighter 4? Wait, what? I haven't heard of this before. I haven't heard of any of these 2D fighting games, medium punch, light punch. What the hell is all this, right? Like, it was all so new to me. And it was so refreshing. It was so refreshing and so invigorating to feel alive with such a character. To control every movement, every step, was something that I never experienced before. Right? It's things that I've dabbled with, but not on this level. This level of controlling every single move, everything, crouching, standing, jumping, right? Commands, command normals, like, all of these things, like, it deepened my connection with the character so much more. I felt so much more alive. So I did that. You know, I played Ryu Story Mode. I fell in love with not only the deepness and the connection that I had for these type of games, these 2D fighting games, if you will, but also I appreciated how much time and effort the developers put into this game. You know, not, you know, making it a single button mashing game. I appreciated that. My appreciativeness for that flew off the roof. But also the story of Ryu and how he is, right? Like, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but Ryu's taunt in Street Fighter 4, there's one taunt where he does his taunt, and it's similar to this one where he does that with his fist, you know, and he does whatever. But in Ryu, he says, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Now, that might seem all subtle, but to me, that was big. Like, I think it was, I'm not sure if it was he touched his fist or he tightened his headband. I don't really remember. But I remember that whenever he did his taunt, it was like, talk is cheap, right? That small detail alone skyrocketed my love for Ryu. Like, it was huge. It was huge for me because I was like, dude, like what? Like that was something that if I was gonna taunt somebody in a fighting game, that's probably what I would say. Like, talk is cheap. Like, I believe in actions much more than talk. If your actions back up what you speak, then speak it. But if they don't, just show you have what it takes to speak it, and then you can speak it afterwards. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that model, that line to me was huge. It was huge. It reminded me of myself and how I always been of a person that spoke, you know, with actions being louder than words. Always. And I related with Ryu in the game. Not only that, but his way of training, the way how he had two sides of him, a good one and an evil one. Something that I can also relate to, but that's for a different video. You know, a good one and an evil one, and the mental battles that he was going through, right? Because if you think about it, Ryu's training with Gouken, although he was, you know, a student of Ensatsuken, he learned Ensatsuken decently well. Obviously, he went through his struggles, obviously, but over time, he went and he became good at Ensatsuken, just like Ken did, right? But Ryu's struggles has always been much more of a mental battle than skill wise. I mean, obviously that skill deficiency is there, right? I think he's still training with Oro even now, right? In the latest, timeline of Street Fighter, if you think about it. Street Fighter 3, he's still training with Oro, things like that, because his skill is just not up to par that where he wants it to be. But, for Ryu, his mental battle has been huge. Especially with him having the Satsui no Hado was huge. Let's keep in mind that also that Ryu is a person that was born with, born and had no father and no mother. None. He literally had his Goken, his master, and that was it. That was like his father. I mean, it wasn't his blood father, but it was his it was something. But, Ryu was literally born having nothing, and he turned that through combat, through his fists, right? That's something that Ryu talks about a lot. His fist, the things that he can do with his fist. His actions, but not with words, but with his fists. That he becomes things, that he does things, that he betters himself and his life through his fist, through his actions, through that journey of that eternal, never-ending journey of becoming stronger. He lives on. That's what keeps him alive. In the same way that controlling him and his movements in Street Fighter 4 and who he was kept me alive, it kept him alive as well. And it kept him looking forward to the next day, looking forward to the next battle, to the next fight, to the next level up, the next strength that he would acquire. Same thing for me. Kept me waking up in the morning, motivated, going to school and being excited to come back home, to level up, become stronger, get a better skill, get a better strength. Through his journey was my journey. Through his actions was my actions. I felt alive when I played Ryu. That was a big, big moment for me. And that whole realization of Ryu's journey and how similar it was to mine. How he spoke to me through that journey. How I felt like I was looking at an in-game version of myself all of a sudden. Spoke to me. And it felt good. It felt so good to have that realization. It felt so inspiring. I cannot thank Capcom enough for creating such an amazing character. My love for Ryu knows no bounds. I truly, truly, truly love this character. He's freaking awesome. Awesome. Everything about him I think is freaking cool. Are there things that I, wish could be better from an in-game fighting standpoint? In Street Fighter V specifically? Yes. But my love for the character will never fade. That's something that, it's a lot more than just character skill. It's not only about that when it comes to my care and love for Ryu. So yeah. So that's basically, a summary of, what Ryu is to me, how I related with him in the game, and how I started with Street Fighter. After that moment, playing the story mode in Street Fighter 4 and, going through the arcade mode, I learned so much more about him and his rivalry with Ken, and I went into training mode and I fell in love with the game, and I had a reason to keep going. To keep going, really. To get through my mental struggles, and gaming helped me with that. In particular, Street Fighter 4 helped me with that. In truth, in reality, Ryu in of itself, the character, did that, So, he did that for me. So, that's basically how I got into Street Fighter. That's the beginning of my whole thing with Street Fighter and my relationship with Ryu and things like that. So, yeah. So that's my perspective. That's my mindset. I threw in a couple life things here and there. And, yeah. That's everything for this video. I already talked about, the New Year stuff and my new plans for the channel and things like that. I hope you guys enjoyed these type of videos. If you guys want to see more, let me know. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing. If you don't want to, you don't have to. That's chill too. And till next time, Evolve Magic out.